Hey man, it's pretty interesting what I was contemplating here. Now check this out. Shadow boxing, right? We use shadow memory projection to kind of like emulate, right? You will be projecting like the opponent, and then you will be emulating every possible sequence in this flow, assuming you're a boxer or let's say kung fu. You're projecting the dojo like Neo in Matrix, right? And then you have the opponent. The thing with shadow projection training is that you can slow down or pause, freeze the situation, and then your body has time to calculate, your body mind has time to calculate the next sequence, right? How you're gonna move with it, right? So what's interesting about this, if I'm, for example, jumping, like I have these boxes that I jump on when I'm doing my training, and they're pretty high. So it's two things are necessary for me. First of all, I have to visualize, right, jumping on the box. Now the box, so I'm using shadow projection. My mind is seeing the box, or I can be sitting here and I can be visualizing that I jump on the box. And once I can see it in my mind, then my body can also do it, but the second condition is that the body is warmed up and that the energy flow is optimal, right? So the body can do what is stored in the memory in the same way that Neville taught these people climbing the ladder. So even though the ego says I can't do it and I won't climb the ladder, the body will just spontaneously go into that recorded sequence, animation, right? So with the box, it's pretty simple. The box doesn't move, it doesn't have a complicated like sequence of action. It's just there and you have to jump on the box. If you're battling one opponent in a dojo, there are many possible sequences. In the hockey arena, it becomes really interesting because now the number of sequences is like infinite, probably. Okay, but there is a funny thing that you can do to like tap into this, and I will explain. Now, first of all, let me recap what I've said. So, your body, physical body, is like a puppet, and the puppet is animated with sequences of movements. This is how you learn to talk, walk, or play the piano or do any type of sequence movement. You condition your body to do one sequence and then you add phrases. So let's say piano chords, dun, 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 and then I can combine these different chords into phrases like dun 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 or dun 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 dun. So it's the same way I combine sounds into words, and they become automated. Now the number of sounds is like 40, or if you include like there's a lot of sounds. So you can open up all of these sounds, and your body can then spontaneously phrase them, create sequences. Okay. So in boxing or kung fu, there is a number of like blocks and punches, right? You can even record them into a video game. Once you learn every possible combination or every possible like block or hit, then you hone your body, you condition your body to perform that hit with extraordinary power, because you add energy circulation, you add muscle for explosiveness and whatnot. So in judo, kung fu, whatever combos is really a freestyle, okay, and you can kind of like flow with the moment. It's the same how I talk, right? I like what I want to say, and then I can say a million things in a million ways. Now, how to do this in hockey when like your position on the ice in the field and numbers of combinations of where the players are and how to pass or shoot are kind of unlimited, where you already know you can pass or you can defend or you can dribble or you can shoot. So these are like the basic sequences. So like visualizing a perfect pass, visualizing a perfect shot, visualizing a perfect steal would be like the basic foundational letters. And train your subconscious to perform this confidently, because once it's recorded, the body just moves with that. Now also I want to say I used to do computer animation, like cartoons and stuff. So in the 3D software you have a character, and character is designed like a puppet. So this puppet, it has joints, so you can animate it, you can move it. But once you have the animation, let's say talking or walking or doing this or doing that, you can load these animations into puppets. So you have a database of animations, and then you put your 3D character in, and then you load like waving animation, and it does this, and then it rests, and then it does like boxing animation, so it does this, and then it rests. Now these animation sequences in the software are called a library. And once you have a rigged skeleton in a 3D puppet, in a 3D software, you can use the library to apply animations to that puppet. Now the library is like human collective memory, right? Because every hockey player ever, and whatever they did, that has been recorded. Okay, this is how the universe evolves. Like all the movements that everybody makes, and every sequence, every situation between people becomes stored in our, let's say, collective memory. So even without, when you're like born with a talent, like Mozart was born and he was like, or Beethoven, he was like 6-year-old, 5-year-old, 3-year-old kids playing the piano like a motherfucker. They had the library somehow, okay? Somehow they were born with the access to the library. So when I was born, I inherited a library of painting and writing that was recorded on the memory card of my ancestor, my father, right? So I noticed somewhere along the line that, because my father is an artist and has been doing this for like many years, but then he has a specific signature to his hand gestures, right? He has a specific kind of like melody of how he draws, and I was just able since young age to like draw with the same elegance of style. So I was like talented. And then there are many talents that are not even classified like I'd say I have a talent to arrange frequencies of colors and recognize arrangements of frequencies of colors, which is pretty abstract. Like, I don't know if there's a name for that. So the thing is that later in life, I started to, from a 0 point state, play the piano like a motherfucker. And I've never trained. And also with my eyes open, when my ego was online, I'm like, I can't play the piano because my frontal cortex, like I don't know how to play the piano. And then I close my eyes and whoops, 0 point, I'm playing the piano like a motherfucker. Same thing happens, like I transcend because I'm in a life-threatening situation or a fight, yeah? And all of a sudden, I know Kung Fu. And then I realize, okay, if I close my eyes and I start to do my kata, like I know complex sequences of fighting that I have never trained in this life. So how I access this memory of Kung Fu? So actually I got it from the dojo, like the same way the Neo guy in the Matrix got it. Because I realized in the astrals there's this dojo. It's actually like the same thing in the movie. It exists in the astrals. It's like a dojo where you are going into that room, you get a download of every possible movement. And now your subconscious already has that library. And for me to unpack that library, I can do it whenever I relax, whenever I'm not trying, whenever I'm like flowing from the 0 point in normal life. So the thing is, if I wanted to be like a fighter, like a competitive fighter or sportist, right? I would have to condition my body to be more agile, more strong, because even though I can do the movements, somebody with intention to like beat me up, who's like very, very big, would probably still get me. Yeah. Or what I've learned in everyday situation, like street hurdles or whatever, if I maintain 0 point, I can navigate my timeline away from danger, so I don't have to actually ever fight. I can just stay in the 0 point and I can not subscribe into that, because everything is a co-creative soul contract. So somebody offers you a challenge and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna slide into this timeline where we're friendly or whatever, slide into this timeline where you kick yourself in the head and you like knock yourself out, and I'm just gonna stay in my sovereignty because I'm Source playing a game here, so I don't have to play these games, right? So I have to and if it's a friendly sparring or something where I'm doing with my friends, then yeah, cool, we know the rules and whatnot. But like if somebody coming with a knife or some shit like that, I'm like, yeah, like please stab yourself, and they go like and reload, timeline reloads, and I'm fine. So I use quantum shifting to basically select my movie when the situation is pressing, and even when it's not, I'm kind of like going about life selecting my movie. Now, in a very dynamic environment, writing a timeline, like selecting your movie on ice with like, I don't know, 5 versus 5 players on the field. I don't know how many players there are in hockey, but it's like a lot of things are moving and a lot of things can take you away from your center. Especially when there is like a nervous system has a lot of input of new information, like there bullets flying everywhere, and I'm not used to that. I'm gonna be startled and it's gonna be hard to move. I try to maintain my center, because if I'm not, moved from my center, then still I'm selecting my timeline and the bullets will not hit me, right? So this is the Taoist way of martial arts also, like you pick a point, 0 point, you put it in your dantian, or you put it in your heart, you put it in the third eye, you put it somewhere when you feel grounded, and then you navigate. And then if you know a little bit of tap, then you can just automatically navigate your opponents or bullets or whatever, and they will crash themselves, because between the yin and yang there's no movement. Okay, so you're staying in the emptiness, and whoever is attacking you with the yin or with the yang, they're bound to get the yin back, so they will like rebound in a way, if that makes sense. It's a little bit of kung fu philosophy, which is actually the rules of the game on a very quantum level, so it really works. So I know I said a lot of things here. Let me recap. What I'm suggesting is that you activate or consolidate or create coherence between, you have a chakra right here that has all these libraries. So you want to be relaxed enough, empty enough, so you can just receive these libraries, unpack these libraries of whatever you need for the most masterful hockey game. But then to apply this, you could do two things. One thing is like close your eyes, imagine the field, imagine different scenarios, different situations, and then train with your kata, your hockey kata, like how this is working, and you visualizing the most optimal scenario. That's one. The one when you visualize instances and phrases will obviously take more time, because there are so many instances and phrases, and the game will be evolving every time you play it. So there will always be new information that your body needs to process. Now, here I also need to say, when our body is learning, like you go into an environment where there's like I'm playing a new video game, and like I have to sleep. Then when I sleep, my subconscious integrates everything that happened, and sometimes you take a break from your sport and you just rest and sleep for 6 months, and everybody else has been training during this time. You come back into the field and you're a level above everybody. They have been showing up for training, working hard, and you train for a year, and then you took 6 months break because, I don't know, maybe you had injury, God forbid, whatever, right? But then actually your body had time to defragment all the information that you received and to structure it. Now you come there, all of a sudden you're on another level, even above the people that were training. So this is just to exemplify how you learn. Okay, you learn through getting the information, but then through rest, you're also consolidating the information. And I guess you will be training all the time, but then it will be really optimal for you to have like sleep schedule. Use your night to go to bed on time, wake up at dawn, and just unplug all of your fucking Wi-Fi, unplug all of the electronics. Maybe get even like grounding exercises, like when you're walking barefoot, or you can connect grounding sheets into your bed so your body can rest properly. Okay. I've just been to the village, and man, like when I'm in this environment in the city, it's hard to get rest. Like even when you're sleeping, it's just like too much frequency, too much information. The body cannot really go into deep states of relaxation. 3 nights sleeping in the village with the birds. Wow. I had so many integration. Like I had like a million dreams a night. And all of this information that my body collected from all these situations from the past, like everything got to be integrated in like 3 days. So as much as you train, pay attention that you are sleeping optimally, resting optimally. Now, last but not the least, I'm saying you can activate this higher center, you can download the libraries that you need, and then your body is going to perform something that's out of the ordinary, and you will be like, how the fuck do I know Kung Fu? Like, for real, like, I know Kung Fu, you know that. Now, to perform this, it's also about being empty in the present moment, being fully present. So not having your emotions create anxiety or mind want to do this or think about that. It's like emptying out your mind. And this is something that I mentioned a couple of times. Like, my friend plays basketball and he did this defragmentation practice, which is very basic, and then he said he was just doing that for 15 minutes before each game, and it was like up leveling his game like crazy, because he would come into the field fully present, he would come empty. So that's something I mentioned a couple of times, and I feel like you should throw it in the mix, and I can explain also or train you how to do these specific methods. Okay, last thing, alertness. So another thing how I experience like getting into this flow of like coherency between all the chakras. I was running once in a mountain in Bali. We were running downhill through the jungle, and I started to be like excited, and then at a certain point, like really soon, so we climbed the mountain first, so I was already like warmed up, and then when we were running down, I was one with the timeline. Like, I wasn't looking where I'm gonna step, because there are like branches and it's jungle and you have to find a path, but you're also like running full speed. And then I'm realizing, okay, like I'm in a video game, because now I'm merged with the timeline, and whenever I'm jumping somewhere, my body just does it, and my feet land in these like perfect little rocks and little branches. I'm just like doing like monkey or leopard type of synergy with the environment. So this happens through high alertness. And honestly, I think competitive sport is a really good place to get into this like hyper energized state when you synergize with the environment and you like kind of flow with the timeline, and then you're just invincible. Because this only happens to me when my life is like in danger, or like there are people who want to fight or like stir up some shit, and when I get this high excitement in my body, it's not in the everyday situations. I have to be like mentally and physically in the highest alertness. So to tap into that state of flow can be also something that you can intentionally like learn how to enter. Like few different rituals of like emptying yourself out and then creating coherence between your chakras, and then just like warming up physically, which you're already doing probably because you're playing professional sports, and then I guess all of these together you can create a ritual where you enter this state of flow, and then you're just gonna be like Superman. Fun.